G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today we are going to be flying out the F5E. This is probably the best plane of 2.7 and is really just bloody incredible. It is one of those planes that is almost good at everything that that a plane needs to be good at. And so you end up having a really easy time, to be honest. You basically just pack the best of AirRB and throw it into a package that is about as small as a MiG-19 with the power of something like the T2 or the even certain MiG-21s are going to really struggle against this thing. Of course, this thing is an 11.0, so you are only going to be seeing those lower type MiG-21s, not quite the PFM and the F-13. You are going to be seeing the SMT and the MF. And of course the BIS, because the BIS is probably going to be a pretty close opponent to this type of plane. Now the F5 is very much the not budget MiG-21 BIS, but it is kind of analogous or similar to the MiG-21 BIS in its role in the team. So I would perhaps consider this a budget MiG-21 BIS, but budget MiG-21 BIS doesn't really give it the justice, so it doesn't really serve the name as well, because this really isn't a budget plane as such, unlike the MiG-23, which is very much a budget Phantom, being a Phantom but kind of cut down. But this plane is only cut down in terms of its missile capability. It only has 2 missiles, but it certainly makes up for that with everything else. And I'm not really talking about avionics here, because this plane is a bit of a dogfighter. It's not exactly a plane that is designed around its avionics, or at least it doesn't play around its avionics in War Thunder. And so what you're going to be doing a lot is actually dogfighting. You're one of the, if not the last dogfighter in War Thunder, as in pure dogfighter first and missile interceptor combat type last. And for me, that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to have a plane like this once more in War Thunder. And of course the F5E is looking beautiful. Look at that camo. They just have so many nice camos, and this plane is a real hit, honestly. So we are in a mixed battle here, and mixed battles have been so common with the way R60s and the MiG-23 and Russian teams and flares are going at the moment. So I think a lot of people are just naturally gravitating over to those American teams, which creates a bit of a mixed battle situation. So that's what we're getting here, and that's what we have to deal with. So I'm just going to go and just ignore a missile, because it's an AIM-9J. It's going to get what I want. And MiG-21 MF, unfortunately no dice, but that's okay. I'm starting to hear a couple planes, and MiG-19 PT I'm going to go below, and I'm going to cut underneath this F5 and try and scoop up a little kill. It looks like he's not pulling as hard as he probably could, and he ends up pulling himself into a critical hit, which is very nice for me. Of course, the 20mm guns, very similar to that on the F100. From what I can gather, I'm not exactly sure where they come from. Someone let me know in the comment section below, but I'll tell you what, this MiG-19 doesn't know where this AIM-9J is coming from, that's for sure. Beautiful, easy kill, and unfortunately no dice there on the F4C, but that's okay. Now, the F5E that I shot earlier before has gone down, and unfortunately no kill there, but definitely an assist is worth taking home, and I'm now basically a pure dogfighter. So I'm looking for those clusterfucks, those furballs, if you will. Going to avoid the Nigel boy because he's one of my boys, so good on you, Nigel. Thanks for not going for me. I really appreciate it when people don't sort of run after me and chase me to the ends of the map because they know me. I sincerely appreciate that, but I also sincerely appreciate people that you know, just play their plane so easy like that. MiG-21 BIS not even looking for me, and the 20mm kind of finish off a little bit of that work. Now, the MiG-21 MF in a dogfight, well, he's got the AOA, so he's going to pull and he's going to sort of get that original turn on me. Of course, the MiG-21 BIS is going to go down, and now I'm in a kind of spiral fight. Now, what I want is for the MiG-21 to either be energy trapped, because they make too many turns and lose all of their speed, or alternatively, I might want him to, you know, get a shot from someone else. And that's a beautiful kill setup. Very nice kill setup, and I'm just pulling in the assists here. If I didn't have so many great teammates, well, I would probably have an ace by now. So I really love getting high kill games, but honestly, a couple of assists is not too bad either. I'll tell you what, having all these high kill games and always focusing on these high kill games is really good and really nice, because you're sort of striving for excellence, but at the same time remembering that assists are also pretty good. And you know, I've kind of forgotten about that. I've kind of strive for the aces and realized that, you know, sometimes it's just better to have a good team and have lots of victories in a row. And that's exactly what the F5E is having at the moment. It's just so damn powerful and so damn prominent that it's just, there's just no brakes. No brakes on the rape train. It is just so goddamn powerful that it is absolutely dominating all of these battles. Now, there are a couple of ways to fight this thing. The first way is with the MiG-23 and those R-23Ts, but of course your F5E needs to not be paying attention or not have flares or be going fairly slow. And that's to allow the R-23T to basically get itself on target properly. Now, in this case, you could potentially take them out, but of course, if they are not paying attention, then you are going to be struggling. The second way is to out-energy these things. Now, they do lose a fair bit of energy in turns after sustained dogfights. So, if you know that this plane does not have any missiles on it, you can energy trap it by going into a vertical, and you've basically got them screwed. And this is where the sort of budget aspect of the MiG-21 BIS comes in. So, whilst you don't have the sheer energy retention of the F5, the sheer energy retention of the BIS, you do have some decent handling and some decent turning. So if you were to get into a horizontal fight with a MiG-21, you would probably win. But if you get into a vertical fight, you should just bugger out of there as quick as you can, because those types of fights are basically down to the Russians. The Russians and their energy retention and their sort of ability to vertical fight is just incredible. And so you really don't want to be pulling up against those types of things. It is really just incredible that the type of thing that you can do with a sort of Russian plane like that. Now, moving on to the next match here, I'm going to skip forward a touch, and of course we are on Sicily. So we're looking at enemies here at high altitude, and I'm just waiting for them to pop in. Now, this is the kind of spotting system stuff I'm talking about. When I say that I think that there should be a little bit of an increase in the spotting system. A lot of people have suggested maybe a bit of a cone instead of a ball or like a sort of radius, dedicated radius of spotted enemies. I think that would be okay. I would certainly be open to adjustments to my suggestions and theories. And of course, if I'm wrong at any sort of stance or any sort of point, I would absolutely love to be corrected or perhaps given a better suggestion. So, our first shot here of the MiG-23 has gone beautifully, as always. It is a MiG-23 and it is absolutely garbage. Well, it's not absolute garbage, but it is definitely not that great. But we're going to be sort of looking for other targets here that are maybe slow, maybe not paying attention, and that is where the F5 really shines. It doesn't shine in those high-speed fights because all the other planes can either go faster, pull more energy, climb higher, or do other things like that. So you're going to be looking to fight enemies that are sort of in your element and fighting on your terms. Now, this F4F is not fighting on my terms, he's fighting on his terms. He's running away, and of course he has enough speed to dodge my missiles, and so I don't get that kill with the missiles. It's a bit of a waste if an enemy is running from you, but if an enemy is turning from you, or turning with an enemy, for example, an ally, for example, you are absolutely able to absolutely just missiles, man. These AIM-9Js are fantastic. Do you know what also is fantastic? MiG-23s that don't use the maximum sweep of their wings and rely on that auto sweep. And this is probably what's gotten this MiG-23 killed here, because he's very, very slow. And of course, the MiG-23 being a budget Phantom is, showing just how budget it is. I'm going for a little bit of a spray. I managed to knock off a couple of pieces of his plane, and I'm going to go in for a little bit more. So the only reason why I'm chasing him is because I am closing the gap, and I know that I'm closing the gap, and I'm going to close the gap quickly. And that's given me the opportunity to get myself my second kill, despite wasting that second missile there. So next up we have a J-35D, and the J-35D is looking towards me, so I thought I might go for it, because the J-35 can outturn me, and of course if I get into a multiple dogfight situation, the J-35 is something that can potentially outturn me if I have to make adjustments in my flight for something else, say like a Phantom or a Mirage or another MiG, and I get a nice critical hit, which basically renders this plane very, very struggly. It's very tough when you are heavily damaged in the J-35, and so I've managed to basically get myself a really strong advantage, and because he's been critically hit, his wing surfaces are damaged, and I managed to shear that little other bit of the wingtip off, giving me the perfect extra kill. It's just nice. I like it. Anyway, Moving on, we've got another MiG-23M, but this one is a little bit more of a smart cookie because he's absolutely getting out of there, going for the speed, and not going to bullshit with turning. Sometimes I like to give it a go in the MiG-23. I'll just straighten out the wings, lower the speed, and try and sit behind something like an F5. You can kind of do it, but honestly, in a sustained dogfight, and if you have multiple allies around like this guy does, then it's not really worth it. So I'm going to quickly spray at the FGR2. The FGR2 is smarter than that. He gets out of the way, and I'm going to look at trying to dogfight against these guys. If I can potentially get myself a little bit of a kill with the remaining ammunition that I have, I can start to wear down the numbers, because remember, ladies and gentlemen, I am now the last member of my team alive. I have to carry against 3 or 4 of these enemies here, and it is going to be really, really tough. So the Phantom is going to start swinging around for me, and the MiG-23 looks like he might be in it for a dogfight. And of course, I'm going to be trying to follow. Maybe the MiG-23 does not have his wings folded, and maybe I can just catch him a little bit more, but the FGR2 somehow, his wings just fall off. You know, the front sometimes just falls off, but you know what else falls off? My speed and my nuts when the MiG-23 decides he wants to come for a runway strafe. So as soon as I put the plane into a stop, I am going to J out of that plane. No kill for you, and of course, because I'm repairing already, it does give me the option to respawn. So with that out of the way, we're able to get back into the fight, and of course the MiG-23 is no longer able to strafe us, which is exactly what I wanted. So we can already see that the airfield AA, I think this is the new AA as well, the new surface-to-air missiles and the M247s, it's not doing its job, apparently. And that might be because of the altitude, but I would kind of expect maybe at this altitude you would get surface-to-air missiles firing off. Maybe you would just get some more accurate stuff. I would prefer that sort of ground level type attack to be countered by things like the M247s or guns of some sort, and it's kind of not happening. So whilst it sounds great that we're getting like surface-to-air missiles and M247s and Rolands and all that sort of stuff guarding our airfields, it doesn't make a difference, because at the end of the day, you still get the same result of inconsistency, and that's what I would really like to see, a bit more consistency. For me, if War Thunder made itself more consistent, so I know at a certain time, if I do a certain move, I will get a certain result against a certain plane. You know, you learn your plane, you learn the ins and outs of your aircraft, and you know that if you, for example, boom and zoom against a 0, then you're going to have a better chance against it. You know that if you do X, Y, and Z, then you're going to get a nice kill. Unfortunately, the Roland stole my damn kill. He's eaten my beans, and it's made me very upsetty spaghetti. But you know what? That's one enemy down, and that's something that I can't really complain about. The MiG-21 Biss has also decided that he wanted to come and strafe me while I was on the runway and gets a taste of the Roland. So now he's opening up because, I don't know. I guess this is what happens when you get greedy. But at the same time, I've repaired, I've rearmed. I don't need to be protected by this because I'm at speed and I'm out there able to do my job. So whilst it would have been nice to have the surface-to-air missiles earlier, now that I'm up and running and don't need them, they're there. And for me, I found that a little bit odd. I found it a tiny bit frustrating, and for me, it just doesn't quite add up. And I would really like to see that change to something that is a little bit more predictable, something that is a little bit more straightforward or, you know, calculatable. Something that I can just do something, and then it will absolutely be guaranteed. So if I wanted to go and land, it would absolutely protect me. And if I was up and at speed, it would absolutely just not work. So that would allow me to get kills. But in this case here, we have an FGR2 who was from earlier. He's overshot, and of course, M9Js don't really care about flares, it seems. I don't really know why, but I'll tell you what, I'll take it. A nice carry, 4 kills, and of course, we managed to carry against 3 enemies. Pretty nice, but at the end of the day, it's a little bit of a sad victory because it tells me that there are a couple of things in War Thunder that I reckon could be tweaked and could be made really, really cool. But of course, the F5 is the vehicle that is carrying us all through this mayhem, and it has done absolutely fantastically. This is a plane that is incredibly strong and incredibly brilliant, and of course is absolutely worth every second of the grind at the moment. Sure, it may change later, but I tell you what, the consistency and the results that I'm getting in this plane are absolutely phenomenal, and this is just like the F5A, but better. Anyway, ladies and gents, thank you so much for watching. I sincerely appreciate you spending your time here. Anyway, that's enough from me. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.